Prices of homes in Austin went back up in October. What does that mean for the future? Jeremy Knight with the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Yeah, I did a video a couple weeks ago looking at the numbers for you, showing you that the numbers in October were going to be going back up, and I was right on that. So in July of 2021, we kind of hit a peak at 575, and then it dropped down, and a lot of people were saying that the market was crashing for that reason, that prices got too high for what rents were, and all these different things. So we're going to go through what we saw in these numbers, what we're going to see for probably the rest of the year, and then kind of look into 2022. What do we see there? We're going to go through some of the things that also have me nervous about 2022, so we'll talk about that. And before we get any further, make sure you drop a comment below. I want to hear from you. What do you think is going to happen towards the end of the year? Or is the market going to flatten out, go up or down? Whatever you think. And then in 2022, I want to hear from you on 2022. Do you think this market's unsustainable? Let's hear from you. So I spent a good chunk of time coming up with this chart to show you this chart. But before we do that, I'm going to actually show you real quick the numbers. So here we are. Prices did go up 21% year over year, yet we actually, the month to month is what I want to look at most important here. But one thing I want to point out is that the overall close volume went down a little bit. It's down 11%. So we had about almost 1,100 closings is what I thought we'd have. So if we go back and look at 2019, we will see that closings were about 835. We're still way higher from October 2021 to October 2019. Now you're saying, Jeremy, you skipped October 2020. Yeah, October 2020 is kind of an outlier, but we are down from last year. But if you look at 2019, and we'll show why we look at 2019 more than 2020, we're still higher than that. And then one thing to point out, they have 1.5 months inventory for 2019. And if we look at the months inventory for 2021, it's 1 month inventory. And if we actually look into the future a little bit here and we look at 2019, we'll see that the numbers actually went down to 1.3 months in November. And then they went even further down to 0.9 months. So we should probably see that same trend if we're going to look at 2019, where inventory does dip off the rest of the year. But I want to get to this chart because I spent all this time making this chart. So let's see this chart. So here we are. This blue line represents 2021. The red line represents 2019, and then yellow is 2020. So if you look at 2020, there was just a lot of craziness happening in 2020. And if you look at the 2019 numbers, this curve is very similar to the curve that we're seeing for 2021. And that's why we keep saying, look at 2019, not 2020, because you have lockdowns and things that happened in 2020. So, but look at this. We went from 575 at the top. Our low was 525 and then 536, which was this month. And if we compare that to 2019, there was that same really big rise up to 420, came down to 400, went back up to 406, same kind of month, and then leveled off the rest of the year. So this is kind of what I've been saying a lot, is that we're going to see prices probably level off before we see them dip any further. And think about this, Kevin and I on Real Migos were talking about the fact that people keep talking about a correction. Well, we had such a big dip this year. I think that was part of our correction. The market got a little too hot. Now that people saw the prices were down a little bit lower, they started buying again. I have a lot of clients that are out looking at homes right now and trying to buy investment homes, and we're seeing multiple offers. I have listings that all had multiple offers. So it's been still pretty crazy in October and going into November. So maybe the November numbers aren't as high, and we'll look at that in a second for 2021. But yeah, so I spent a lot of time on this chart. You will see that 2020 was crazy. 2019 definitely leveled off. So my expectations are kind of to follow what 2019 had. I think we might level off. Maybe we come up a little bit to 540, 545, maybe 550, but I just don't see going up much higher than that. Again, there's a lot of things that are issues in the market right now. We have interest rates going up, so that could be driving people back to buying homes before the end of the year. We have uncertainty with inflation. We have a lot of uncertainty in general. And what I think is going to happen going into next year is that we're going to see a lot of people get hit pretty hard with property taxes. And so that might impact how much people are buying and really willing to pay for homes. And I think in 2022, we might see more inventory because People might be out of their homes because of taxes. They just can't afford them and they need to sell their home. Where do they go? That's a problem. I already have people reaching out to me saying, hey, look, I want to relocate. I'm getting ready to sell my house and we're moving to the suburbs, further out in the suburbs. So you could see the numbers in the suburbs get pretty high and level off in Austin because people are moving further out into the suburbs in 2022, which is what I think might happen. Going back to what we're seeing in the market right now, we're only about 3,800 units on the market right now. So I think when we look at the November numbers, when they actually come back around, we're going to see the numbers be about 0.9, 0.8 month inventory. So inventory is still low. Going into next year, inventory is also probably going to stay low. I think we'll see more inventory. What I do think might be a problem, if we go back and look at the chart here, this is a pretty high gap to get up to 575 as our peak. And we're at, we'll just call it 540 for easy numbers. So looking at January of next year, if we're at 540 now and we carry over, and let's say we stay around 525, 540, that's a huge jump because this year's January was 455, 491 in February, March 514, and then it got up to 550 in April. So we're not too far away from that 550 number, but I think if prices don't continue to rise into next year, this 3-month gap, we might actually have negative numbers for this first time year over year. And that's what people seem to pay attention more to, the month to month. They're looking at the year over year. So it's possible that next year, if we don't get up to that 585 mark, maybe 600 by July of next year, it could be possible that we start seeing some negative numbers in these months. And then we'll start seeing positive numbers again because I mean, look, from July to August, down from 575 to 540, down to 525. Are we going to see that dip? I don't know. There is definitely some uncertainty and things that I'm worried about, but overall, the market's still pretty warm, and it is right now at the end of the year with this little inventory. I have clients that are in multiple offers. So one other thing that has me slightly worried, I don't know if you saw the news, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac just raised their limits of what they'll back. So now they're going to be backing loans up to almost $1 million. Now, everybody keeps saying, and I'm one of those people, that you can't compare 2008 and all the crash talk to right now because of how mortgages are written, and then the people buying can actually afford those mortgages. The challenge I have with them raising the limit is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are going to start lowering limits for what their requirements are and backing bigger loans. They need to do it, obviously, because really Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are a business, but that might lead to where we start seeing some bad loans. And so that has me a little concerned. Maybe we won't see that hit in 2022, but maybe that hits us pretty hard in 2023 with kind of a lot of this mess. So that's what has me concerned there. But again, in the Austin market, I'm looking at the amount of companies still moving here, the amount of jobs still moving here. Every day I'm looking at the Austin Business Journal and another major company is announcing that they're moving here. So that's kind of why I'm still on the train where I just don't see the market crashing around the Austin area. I could be wrong, but I'm seeing the people move here. I'm hearing what people are saying. And I'm the one that told you the October numbers were going to be higher because I was already hearing it and seeing it. And so it's one thing just to look at data and say, this is what's going to happen. It's another to actually hear it and be in the market. So I don't know everything, and I'm trying to tell you that I don't know everything, but I'm trying to give you what I see in the market right now. So I hope that helps. So there you go. What are your thoughts? Drop them down below. Jeremy Knight, the Night Group. We'll catch you on the next video.